and can actually have a full game, not just offensive. It's almost like their defense being shit and him being the cornerstone of their team doesn't work.
I can't believe we're having an argument of whether or not Jokic is good, and you're vehemently saying he's bad. You're just showing to the world that you don't know what you're talking about if you think Jokic is a bad basketball player. See, I disagree with that.
Okay.
If Cade got hurt, Jokic is winning another MVP. Like,
I don't think Jokic can win, dude. I don't think that makes sense.
Dude, he's just by far the best player in the NBA. Like,
no.
The only reason that Shea is getting the love and the consideration, it's so similar to the NFL with Lamar and Josh Allen. It's voter fatigue. People don't want to keep voting Jokic MVP, even though he deserves it every year. The same thing happened to LeBron, and the same thing's probably going to happen to him if Shea keeps doing what he's doing. But to your point, I do understand what you're saying, where it's not necessarily going to be given to Jokic, but you're going to really have to do something to jump Jokic. And then the next guy there is Tatum. Like, so if it's not those two, it's got to be Tatum, in my opinion. And
impressive. The roster construction my fucking toddler down the street could do. It's not. This team isn't built more than 3 guys deep. I mean, there's nights where they need a fucking scrub who on the Celtics would play 10th off the bench to get 15 fucking points. He has to do everything.
You're going to penalize him for maximizing a shitty team? Isn't that the point of the award?
In some respect, I hear you. To me, winning has to be a part of what makes an MVP. I don't think it's good enough just to raise others. I think you do have to be a little subject to what is around you and what you're creating. And whether it was Jamal and Murray playing like shit, whether it was them not constructing a good roster, I saw their record for through the first 20 games of the season. That's not an MVP. That's not an MVP. Tatum is so much more of an MVP than Jokic. If they have any ability, I don't care how many guys got injured on the Celtics, we would have won 75% of our games. The Nuggets look like shit. And by the way,
you're just proving my point right now.
Okay.
I hear what you're saying, but let me just put this into the existence, and we can have this argument on a separate occasion because we don't need to dive that deep into it. But all I'll say is Tatum's amazing, and I get what you're saying of the plug and play, where if he's out, the team is still good. When Jokic is off the court, they're like a bottom 5 team in the league. So
terrible to watch.
You can't penalize a guy for having bad players around him and needing to literally do everything. That's the definition of the award. And I get, yes, you need to win. They've had a very good turnaround from the start of the beginning of the year. So it should be really interesting to see where it ends and where they end, because your boy Amen Thompson and the Rockets, they're sliding down a cliff right now. And they're leaving the second seed wide open for one of these guys to come get it. So we'll see what happens. But I hear your point.
I got to go one more point on it. He has great points per game. He has great rebounds per game. He has great assists per game. Phenomenal. What part of his game is not being included in those 3 statistics? The dude plays no defense. Zero.
He does play defense. This is such a fallacy. This is such a fallacy.
He can't fucking move his legs, Ryan. He can't move laterally at all. You're telling me he can move laterally?
I'm not saying that he can move laterally, but he's a more than average defender around the rim. I mean, of course he's not going to be a good perimeter defender. I mean, he's my size out there, body weight, not height, and it's not going to be easy to move around when you have a Tyrese Maxey moving 1,000 miles per second. So I don't. It's almost like you need someone
who's versatile and can actually have a full game, not just offensive. It's almost like their defense being shit and him being the cornerstone of their team doesn't work.
I can't believe we're having an argument of whether or not Jokic is good, and you're vehemently saying he's bad. You're just showing to the world that you don't know what you're talking about if you think Jokic is a bad basketball player.
He's unbelievable. He creates great shots for everyone else, and he makes up for the things that he's lacking. He makes up for tenfold. I'm not saying he doesn't. he does have genuine deficiencies. And someone like Tatum does not have those. Tatum has 0 of those. He might not shoot well from the 3-point game, but that's the worst you're going to get. The rebounds, the defense, the versatility on switching, the versatility on the attention he takes, all of those are a given. And his game, Jokic's, is only one-sided.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
We're not going to find a meeting point on this. I vehemently disagree with you, and I think this might be one of your colder takes on this pod to date. But